One of the big reasons why Mississippi State did struggle in 2025 is because of their schedule, because specifically their SEC schedule. It turned out to be very, very tough, and it's going to be very, very tough again in 2025 because it's the same teams. You just flip the home and away. But yeah, it's a brutal schedule in the SEC. Also, you have Arizona State. Last year, did not expect that to be maybe as tough of a game going into the season. Arizona State turned out to be a playoff team. They won the Big 12. So you've got the tough stretch in the SEC, and then also a very tough non-conference game as well. And it's going to be, like I said, very similar. They play Arizona State again, and they play the same teams in the SEC. So in the non-conference, they actually have to go on the road to play Southern Miss, in-state game. Could be a little bit tricky. They've got Arizona State again, Alcorn State. That's their one easy win. And then you got a Northern Illinois team that beat Notre Dame last year, and they are typically one of the better teams in the MAC. So it's not a horrible non-conference schedule, but for a team like Mississippi State that would love to go 4-0 in the non-conference, yeah, I think that's going to be tough. So let's go look at the home and away now. This year, again, in the SEC at home, they'll play Tennessee, Texas, Georgia, and Ole Miss. And then on the road, they will play Texas A&M, Florida, Arkansas, and Missouri. So it just flips from last year. You know, you look at the toughest games there, you know, Texas, probably Georgia, those probably maybe the two toughest opponents. You get them at home. You'd rather maybe play them on the road and get like an Arkansas and a Missouri at home, so maybe you have a chance to actually win an SEC game, because I do think that's going to be tough for this Mississippi State team. So let's go week by week. They play Southern Miss week 1, August 30th, and they'll play that game again on the road, so that could be a little bit tricky. Then you've got Arizona State the next week. They'll get them at home this time, but Arizona State's a team that does bring a lot back, and they figure to be near the top of the Big 12 again. That's going to be a very tough game for Mississippi State. Then they'll play Alcorn State on September 13th. Like I said, that's your one easy win. You got to get that one for sure. Northern Illinois, a very winnable game. You know, Southern Miss and Northern Illinois are very winnable games for Mississippi State. In fact, they really, I think, have to win those two games, but they're not guaranteed wins for a team like Mississippi State. Then you go into SEC play, so all 4 non-conference games right there to start off the season. Then they get into SEC play with Tennessee on September 27th at home, then October 4th on the road at Texas A&M. So they'll play 5 games, 4 non-conference games, 2 SEC games, and then they'll get their first bye week. And I don't like where that second bye week is. If I'm a Mississippi State fan, as tough as this schedule is, you need a little bit more of a break earlier in the year, but you do get the Egg Bowl at home, so maybe that bye week could be enough to potentially get Mississippi State a big win, an upset win there. I don't know. But Florida there, after that first bye week, they play Florida on the road October 18th. Then they're at home for Texas on the 25th. Then they go into the month of November with a road game at Arkansas on November 1st. November 8th, they will play Georgia at home, and then at Missouri November 15th. And then again, there's that second bye week before playing Ole Miss in the Egg Bowl. So, like I said, maybe that's a good thing. Maybe it's enough. You know, I don't know just how good Ole Miss is going to be. I don't think they're going to be quite as good as last year. They do have some question marks. They do have some, they didn't exactly reload. So maybe Mississippi State with a bye week will have a chance, which I think Ole Miss actually has a bye week then as well. So that's going to be kind of even. But yeah, it's 4 non-conference games, and then the brutal schedule of the SEC. And they don't get to play Kentucky. They don't get to play Vanderbilt. They don't get to play some of those teams, near the bottom of the conference. In fact, when we look at how this schedule stacks up in the SEC, just looking at the conference schedule, it's the toughest. It's the toughest schedule in the SEC. Their opponents that they'll play this year in the SEC last year were 41-23, a 64% winning percentage. That was the best in the SEC. So you look at Mississippi State and Oklahoma, those two teams have just brutal schedules in the conference. And then you add in that Arizona State game as well, the non-conference. It's going to be a very tough schedule again for Mississippi State, and going to be hard for them, in my opinion, to really make any strides forward, at least with their record in 2025.